Welcome to Real Estate Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters, sharing proven strategies to help you build a better business today. And here is your host, Keith Doherty.
Hello and welcome to this episode of our show. This is your host, Keith Doherty. Today our special guest is top real estate broker Anthony Legins of Detroit Residential Builders, based out of Detroit, Michigan. For the past 11 years, Anthony Legins has helped hundreds of people on the path to becoming successful real estate investors and homeowners. He is a licensed real estate broker. He's a licensed builder, author, consultant, and trusted advisor to many friends and clients. He has sold multiple millions of dollars in real estate in the Metro Detroit area and is considered by many to be a local real estate expert. He was a featured agent in Top Agent magazine, both national and international edition in January of 2016. And he's also currently featured by Top Agent magazine as one of the top real estate agents in Michigan. He is currently the president of Detroit Residential Builders and Detroit Property Managers, Inc., both located in Detroit, Michigan. So with all that, Anthony, welcome to the show.
Hey, Keith, thank you. Thank you very much for having me. That sounded like a mouthful. Thank you for all
you know what? But that's, we like having guests on that have your background and expertise, and sometimes it takes a while to, and I'm sure we probably could have read a lot more about you, but a lot of times the question we ask on the show will bring out a lot more of that expertise for our listeners. So, but we appreciate your time, and thank you for being here today.
Thank you for the opportunity.
I guess if we could start, if you could kind of tell our listeners, what led you into real estate? Was it something that you kind of always wanted to do, or did you kind of just, happen into it?
Well, I'd say about 12 years ago now, I was in between careers, and my grandfather had actually suggested that I go into real estate. To be honest, no, I didn't initially think about real estate. I didn't even know anybody to sell a house to be honest with you. But however, after my first month after receiving my real estate license, I had 3 houses sold under contract and went on to do $5 million in sales in my first year. So, I started off quite successfully, even without, knowing anybody. Nobody I knew wanted to buy a house when I telling them I was going to school to get my real estate license. So good turn of events. I got a good start in that direction there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's definitely not a bad start, like you said. Not knowing anybody, not kind of having any mentorship or guidance, and to turn out $5 million that year. That's speaks volume for obviously how you operate things, and you jump right in and take action.
Thank you.
So can maybe tell us maybe some of your personal attributes or traits or maybe qualities that you think have most contributed to your success, and how do you think you developed those?
Well, Keith, I would say listening to my clients' needs, being attentive, being genuine and honest, and being accessible to my clients, and maintaining a high level of professionalism. And truly caring about the success and happiness of others. When I got started, first starting in real estate, my broker stopped me one day and said, "Anthony, you talk too much." This kind of took me back a little bit because I had noticed. So I began to start keeping my mouth shut a little more and start listening a lot more. And also learned early in my career that although someone has a license, that doesn't necessarily make them professional. It just means that they have a license. So I made it a point to always be professional in my business dealings, and that's helped me out a lot in my career.
Excellent. Do you think maybe you could give our listeners an example or specific examples of how your traits have played a role in your path towards success?
Oh, yes, definitely, Keith. I had an opportunity a few years ago to work with Billy Sims, who's a former Detroit Lions running back in 1978 Heisman Trophy winner. He had actually responded to one of my ads that I was running at the time and was in need of corporate housing here in in the Metro Detroit area, one of his companies was looking to lease a property so that he would have an exclusive place to stay when he comes into town to sign off the autographs and do promotional events and things of that nature. So they were working with a broker before they contacted me, and well, let's just say that they had dropped the ball and wasn't able to make the deal happen. By listening and being attentive to Billy's needs, I was able to avoid the same mistakes that were made by the first broker and get the deal done exactly the way that they wanted it done. And he respected my abilities and my professionalism, and I eventually ended up going into a partnership with him at one point in another business that he owns. So, just by the same attributes and qualities I mentioned before, that's just part what I've incorporated, into my personality and my business set of skills, and and that's plays a large part of me, my success now.
Well, that's quite a cool story. Billy Sims, man, he was a great running back. I'm not a Detroit fan. I was born and raised in New York, and I'm in Florida now. But he was one great player. So that's a cool thing to be able to work with him. Yeah.
Yes, he's a great guy too. Yeah, he's a great guy. Definitely.
Excellent. So I imagine, as with everything in life, not everything is just, perfect and an ideal path as you move forward and as you gain more success. Maybe could you discuss some of the major adversities or any trials that you had to overcome in order to continue to build and have the success that you've had?
Yes. Initially, I would say lack of experience, which I've obviously overcome now, but one of the biggest challenges was remaining successful after the real estate market crashed back in '07 and '08, because Detroit was hit particularly hard and prices dropped dramatically. So it's like when your $1 million real estate portfolio all of a sudden becomes only a $100K portfolio virtually overnight. I'm sure you can imagine how people, how difficult that was. At that time, I had 23 homes sold under contract, and all but one of the deals fell apart because the banks had stopped giving loans and appraisal values were rock bottom. And, a lot of people, excuse me, a lot of people, even some of my active business partners, had just, at the time, it just closed shop and basically abandoned ship, like literally closed their offices and relocated out of Detroit. And I decided to stay and stick it out. And I was able to able to restructure my business model and focused on doing cash and land contract deals to continue to make a living. So
excellent. I mean, it's great. I think it speaks volumes that there's always a change, and it could be in any marketplace, but especially in real estate, it seems like there's definitely cyclical. There's ups and downs, and there's different times of the market. So instead of just throwing in the towel, like you said, you restructured, you refocused, you didn't abandon ship, and you stayed the course, and you continue to move forward.
Yes.
And so I guess that kind of leads me to the next point here. But what kept you going despite these obstacles? Why didn't you give up? Obviously, like you said, you changed gears and stuff. But I mean, you could easily you saw everybody else kind of leaving. You could have tried something else. What kept you? What made you stay the course?
Well, initially, I mean, it was kind of hard. I was married with a newborn baby, a 2-year-old daughter at the time. But, plus I truly believed, and I still do believe that, Detroit was going to survive and revive and once again thrive. That's something I like to say. But, I wanted to play a major part in that. And I knew that I had to be here to be able to make that a reality. So I really love Detroit. I was born and raised here. I love my city, and I just really wanted to. I just couldn't just see myself just leaving, like that. And I still saw opportunity.
Excellent. And kind of, looking forward, I guess, what do you see your vision for your career and your business, say, over the next 5 years?
Well, over the next 5 years, Keith, I look forward to expanding and growing my companies and, continuing to have an impact on the city and the community because, like I was just saying, I love Detroit. I want to buy and renovate and sell properties, promote and provide job opportunities, and really just become more of a major player here in Detroit.
Excellent. And what do you feel, kind of building upon that a little bit, what do you feel the best way that you market yourself as a real estate professional for continual growth?
Well, I would say, especially in my case, without a doubt, that, you should write a book if you can, because that's what I did. Just try to cram all of my years of experience into a book, and, that's one good way. Also, I would probably say, like, have a website without a doubt, and don't be afraid to use your photo of yourself smiling in your marketing material. And also get an interview with Keith.
I like that business plan. That sounds great. Excellent. So I see here, I did, as you were saying, it looks like you have more than one book. It looks like on Amazon, land contracts and real estate handbook. So that's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, thanks. Yeah, the land contract book was my first venture out. I just wanted to write a simple guide to help people understand land contracts because not everybody knows what it is. And the Detroit real estate handbook. I just wrote that because Detroit is such a unique market, and I wanted to have a guide out there for people that were new to the market here to, so that kind of like a heads up in a sense, just to let you know some things that are unique and specific to Detroit that you may not encounter in other parts of the United States or other countries from, like, most of my clients are from.
Excellent. Yeah, I do a lot of publishing myself. Actually, my last book came out a few weeks ago, and it was a marketing book, and I took down Gary Vaynerchuk and Damon John. So they were number 1 and 2, and I pushed them down. I took the number 1 spot in the marketing category. So
congratulations, Steve.
So yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'd like to say I slayed the shark for a few days. So that was
Hey, that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's good stuff. But so anyways, kind of, I think sometimes with real estate, especially with agents, I think the barrier to entry, and I think you kind of mentioned this before, the barrier to entry is relatively pretty easy. I mean, anybody can seem to get a license. So I think with that comes a lot of misconceptions on what agents can really do for people. So what do you think the biggest misconception or myth that people have about working with a real estate agent is?
Well, it kind of depends, in my opinion, on whether you're working with the buyer or a seller. Because with buyers, some buyers believe that, it's an agent's fault if they make an offer for a home and the offer doesn't get accepted, or they feel like it's the agent's fault if the agent, maybe the agent didn't work hard enough to make the deal happen, or, that's just kind of part of the burden of being the bearer of bad news sometimes, Also, some buyers think that, buying a house is easy and think they'll save money without an agent involved. And, a lot of times, specifically here in the Detroit market, they end up getting taken advantage of and losing thousands of dollars. Because it happened to me, before I had a license. And I've heard, dozens of similar stories over the years. So, with sellers, some think that, the agent doesn't respect the value of their property when we give them an analysis, and, or they think that they can, save money by not paying commission. But, I think that, if you're going to, I always tell people that, if you're going to go to court, you're not going to represent yourself. You're going to hire an attorney. You should do the same with real estate. If you're going into real estate, to buy a home, you should definitely do it with an agent, somebody that's licensed and skilled in that line of business. I mean, a lot of people listen to, friends and family that have no knowledge of the real estate and just have, good opinions. But, sometimes you need actual, concrete facts and statistics, and that's what a real estate agent will be able to provide for you because, I think it's one of the best decisions business-wise is to always use a real estate agent when you're doing a real estate transaction.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think people sometimes realize all the ins and outs, like you said, even on the selling standpoint, with all the paperwork and the deals and
Exactly.
contingencies and protecting their interests. Because a lot of them don't realize, and that's what you do day in and day out.
That's the number one right there, is to protect my client's best interest without a doubt. Because we're used to seeing these type of contracts and agreements and what, the things to look out for and what to point out and how we could save you money and things of that nature. So, yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Excellent. So kind of a hypothetical question we'd like to give here is, if you were to get a call from, let's say, a family member in another state, and they want to sell their house, so obviously you're not, potentially licensed in that state. What advice would you give them on how, how should they go about selecting an agent that can best serve their needs? Kind of like you take care of your people, how would you tell them to go about finding that agent that could help them?
Well, I would definitely tell them to start off by asking for some referrals, from, some coworkers or friends, that they live with. I think that sometimes, referral from someone that that's had experience in dealing with that person would be helpful, especially if they had a good experience, or even to find out, people that had bad experiences, and maybe you might not want to deal with a particular agent because they might have went online and Googled and did some things before they called me and said, hey, Anthony, need your advice here. So I would definitely, begin in that direction. I would definitely interview with the person, tell them to interview with the agent, meet them in person, make sure that they're knowledgeable of the area and that they get a good sense that the person is truly out to look out for their best interest versus just trying to, make a quick sale and earn a check. Those things are really, the top. I guess those are maybe three or four things that I would, recommend.
Excellent. Now, if somebody wants to find out more about you and how you can help them, what's the best way they can do that?
You can go to my website, www.anthonylegins.com. That's with one G, Legins.com. My www.anthonyknowsdetroit.com, or our website, www.313builders.com, and you can see some of our current construction projects that we're working on right now here in the city as well.
Excellent. And of course, if you guys are looking to invest in Detroit real estate, you go to Amazon and type in Anthony's name, and you're going to see he's got 2 books out there. So it's another way that if you want to get more information, pick up one of his books, and I'm sure it's pretty informative to help you make a decision down that path.
Thank you, Chief. Yes, it is.
All right. Well, Anthony, we certainly want to take a second here to thank you for coming here today and sharing your business experience as well as, all the professional experience that you've had and success with all of our listeners. And if anybody's looking to find out more about Anthony, as he mentioned his site, anthonylegins.com, below this interview, we'll also have a link to that site and anything else that he's mentioned, along with any other contact information of how you can reach out to him and get in contact with him. So with that said, everybody, thank you again for joining us. Until our next show, everybody have a great day.
Thanks for listening to Real Estate Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading real estate industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at realestateinnovatorsradio.com today.